I don't know.
What's up?
There's the person. Yeah, right there.
I don't know if it's on the floor or not.
That's good, just off the mic. It's not, it's not on the, it's not here. Like for myself, they don't charge for majors and parents.
Oh, okay, perfect.
They don't charge.
You don't get any, that's the time.
Occasionally one of us is, one of us is allowed to buy some, if I can do that, it's like money.
Well, ultimately, you don't,
We cash it in.
you don't get paid for that.
No, we've never, no. No, we've never. Yeah.
I think that's in the big thing.
We're gonna have like
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
So I remember that coming up one time.
No, but it's what we wanted. It's crazy. 6 hours.
I didn't eat them all yet.
That's good. I mean, like, that's what
Why one of my boxes?
when you're, maybe you are lagging.
Okay. You know, there are people like, oh, this one can't go, that
Well,
one
no,
can't go.
I took out the preview.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then that's okay. Sorry.
We need to get the meeting started. Okay, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Garmin,
Here.
Ms. Beth Hattle,
Present.
Mr. Mark Hattle. Present. Mr. Blanes.
Present.
Ms. Wallace. Here.
The recognition.
All right. Well, we're going to make a bigger deal out of this in the next meeting because we want to, really emphasize what's occurred with the high school boys basketball team. But we were really proud of them, district champions, regional semifinalists. Also, we want to acknowledge Mr. and Mrs. David Marsh for establishing the $6,000 Marsh scholarship to be distributed over the next 3 years. They want $1,000 based yearly on academics, $1,000 yearly based on need for each year. So that was really generous of them, and we're really grateful. The other thing I don't have written down, but I'm glad that Jessica came, and I wanted to present Jessica with this mic come up, and Jessica come up, and this acknowledges her Star Award, and this is actually the ad we're putting in for her in the paper with that, and it says congratulations. I want you to handle it off. Congratulations, Michael Licata. You've always been such a bright light within our school community. Now all of Trumbull County knows you were a star. So, Mike, would you like to present that to her?
Absolutely. Mrs. Licata, thank you so much.
Make sure she actually lets you come.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs to go to the newsletter. Executive session. Whereas a public board of education may hold an executive session only after a majority of the quorum on this board determines a by roll call vote to hold such a session, and only at regular or special meeting pursuant to the code. The for the sole purpose of consideration of any of the following matters, and it will be under section D. And I make the motion.
Okay.
Okay. And the time is 6:08.
Mark?
It won't be long, folks.
Roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Hattle?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Felice?
Yes.
Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Ms. Hattle?
We're going to bring their section back, ending section. Checking all your votes.
make a motion. Any second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Flores,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Mr. Hattle,
Yes.
Ms. Garmin,
Yes.
Ms. Huddle.
Yes. Treasurer reports?
It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the financial reports for the month of February and short-term investments that yielded $580.04.
So moved.
Second? Any discussion?
You'll see that on the first page that we converted over to, from Cortland Bank to Farmers Bank.
Yeah.
And they've made our, we should generate a couple more cents in interest, but hopefully more if rates go up. Our checking account is a sweep account, so it'll have no more, the most we'll have is $90,000. And anytime it's more, it'll sweep into a interest bearing account.
Okay. That's good. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Hattle,
Yes.
Mr. Flores,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Ms. Garmin,
Yes.
Ms. Hattle.
Yes. Okay, and then we're going to move into public participation. The procedures for public comments are listed below. I'm not going to read them out. Do we have anybody that'd like to make any comments? Marcia?
I'm not standing. The only thing I wanted to do is compliment the band on being able to raise their funds for their trip to Orlando. I did that in 81 with my brother's band, and it was quite interesting and very enjoyable, and I'm sure that they'll have a lot of memories. So kudos to those that helped out.
Boosters and everybody did a wonderful job, and everybody that supported them in the community, took the community to help raise that. Any other comments? Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Building administrator?
You want me to go first?
Oh,
Panic, you're calling me out, I'll do it. All right. Good evening, everybody. Few big things as testing is coming up. I want to thank all the families and students who have chosen to participate in the after-school program in Baker. We've got, I have it in here somewhere, I think it's 72. We've got 72 students participating, so it's been a great turnout. And again, really appreciate the families for making the accommodations to pick kids up after school, because that's kind of the catch when we do these things. It's not having transportation at this time for them. Additionally, the whole idea behind this after-school intervention is as a test prep. Moving forward here in April, we're going to start the air testing, grades 3 through 6, and this kind of helps prepare students. Teachers do a lot of focus with test-taking strategies, in addition to some math and reading skills that they know are going to be important on those tests. Additionally, noteworthy, kindergarten registration is still taking place. So if you've got family members, neighbors, relatives, whomever it is that still has a kindergartner that hasn't registered, you might give them a little toast for us. We like to get those numbers in, get students registered. We're going to do the screening for kindergarten in the fall as opposed to in the spring. I'm going to do that again. That's going to be like that first week of school. A couple things under the extracurricular area that we've noted, just some upcoming band and music concerts. 5th and 6th grade band and choir are combining here at the high school on March 30th. That's going to take place at 6:30. And then our 3rd grade music program, Mrs. Jones is doing this one by herself as opposed to the 5th and 6th grade. She's doing that with Mr. Rodney. The 3rd grade is going to take place May 12th, and the 4th grade is May 17th. Both of those, again, 6:30 in the evening. And that's about it. There's some other notes in there for you folks. But, all right, thank you. Any questions?
How did Pi Day go?
Mrs. Connor this year went amazing. All of our teachers do things, but Mrs. Connor, as does the sixth grade, they always try to do a little bit of extra things for our sixth graders to try to give them some things. But she's got some nice pictures. Ms. Keller's,
Next newsletter?
yeah, Ms. Keller is going to put some things on the webpage for us as well. But, yeah, real nice job. Mrs. Connor was telling me at the end of the day yesterday how nice it was for the families and all the compliments that she received, getting families back into buildings, because that's fairly new to us, really within the last couple of weeks, getting everybody back in the building. So we're looking forward to a lot more of that towards the end of the year as well. Nice job, very nice job.
Thank you.
Sure. Hope everybody's having a nice night. Just real quick here, as far as academics go, we've been doing a little changes with our scheduling for next year. We're looking at rolling our financial management curriculum into our general curriculum and adding some other classes that will cover the graduation seal requirement, which starts next year. So that all of our students will have the seals for career-based instruction. Looking at placing 8th grade students who are advanced instead of their own separate classroom into the general 9th grade classrooms with an included math lab section. ACT went well. We also consolidated our testing schedule down to 4 days instead of the original 11. I think it's more important that we have the instructional days than so many testing days, so we kind of narrowed that down. We had the first annual craft fair on Saturday the 26th. It says there were 20 vendors. Now I know there are more than that because she told me it is filled. So on that day, that Saturday, there are going to be, I think she said, 28, 30 vendors that are set up here. Mr. Brown's Golden Eagles had 15 students signed up. A lot of younger kids, a couple older kids who are in the tech realm. We have our junior high dance coming up in April. Indoor, under the athletics piece, listed a couple things on here just real quick. We mentioned our basketball team earlier. Vinny Sharp, Isabella Greenwood, Trumbull County Players of the Year nominees. First team All-NAC, or Vinny Sharp and Dominic Greenwood. Second team All-NAC, Isabella Greenwood. Honorable mentions are Brooke Bauer, Maya McGregor, Vincent Greenwood, and Tyler Hopkinson. Baseball, softball, and track are underway. We have Mrs. Doug Arbino and I are doing junior high track. Again, track has a lot of numbers. High school track has about 54. Junior high track has 36. And it's going to be kind of challenging, as we found out today due to construction. In about a month, we will be doing track and field without a track and field. So we got to be pretty creative about things, and we'll figure it out. We had that remote day. I want to touch base on that. The day following the regional district game, or the regional game, Mr. Palumbo had organized his spirit buses, and they filled up to the brim. We had, I want to say, close to 100, probably about 95 kids on the buses going up there. And that's just the kids who rode the buses. Many other kids traveled. We had over 160 kids in attendance for a game that was about an hour away. The other team, just going to put this out there, they were about 20 minutes down the road, and they were not, in comparison to the amount of our kids there. They handled themselves respectful. Everything we told them, they held up their end of the bargain. The next day was probably one of our best attended days, with everybody signing in, doing their work, either asynchronous or with meetings. Also, lastly, Senior Caitlin Riddell and Mrs. Burkhouse sponsored the 2/22/22 Week of Caring food drive event. I want to say she had close to 1,000 cans donated, and the senior class was the winning class, and out of those kids, they are going to be drawing to throw a pie at Mr. Palumbo's face this Friday. He volunteered, and we are a little bit late on it, so it will be this week still.
How many cans does it take to win?
Yeah, right. It was the winning class who brought the most, and we're going to draw them out of there. 14 kids get to try to throw a pie at them out of the senior class for March 14th in honor of Pie Week. So, no problem. Well, glad you could help, and that's it.
When is Camp Fish?
The 13th and 14th. What we're doing, we need to sit and talk, we need to get with Mr. Police. We're looking at, and the girls here have kind of put some of the behind the scenes things together to get this ready. We're looking at having 7th and 8th grade, Mr. Garrett involved as well. 7th and 8th grade joining 6th grade this year. Typically it's a 6th grade thing, but because the last 2 years was COVID, 7th graders last year is 6th, and 8th graders 2 years ago, 6th graders were not able to attend. So camp has agreed to accommodate everyone. We just need to make sure that we can get 5 buses, so we're gonna see if we can get Mr. Police to help coordinate that. Otherwise, Bethany Delver is making a lot of trips with the mayor.
Is that May?
And she already knows that, and is
That
agreed to it as of about 10 minutes ago.
It's in April.
It's not far away.
It's the Wednesday.
It's a month, we've got a month.
It's the Wednesday, Thursday, and then we're off for Good Friday. So it's, instead of it being a 2-night trip, 3 days, it's a 1-night trip, 2 days. Figured it was compromise since we're taking 3 grade levels.
Two full days, because we're
Yes.
still able to get all 8 activities in, all 8 experiences in. So,
The return on that second day would be a little unique, looking at getting back in the field back here around 7 o'clock, I think it was. 5 o'clock,
probably more like 8.
8 o'clock.
8:30.
So the bus will pick up at 7. There was a bus picking them up there at 7. That gets them the full day, so. Mr. McQuaid, probably, if not today, maybe yesterday, that would have come in the bag. We're taking it out of the bag either Friday or Monday.
He's putting it on there because we gotta approve that.
Can we do, that's one of the things that we talked about earlier.
We thought it was.
He's writing it out right now.
I was gonna say, we knew
With it
it
being
was
on the
short
state.
notice, but we
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be on tonight.
Okay, so 6th grade trip, Camp Fitch,
6, 7, and 8.
6th, 7th, 8th grade trip to Camp Fitch. April,
13th and 14th.
13th and 14th.
we'll have it on.
All right.
Good.
I mentioned something real quick I forgot, just to address Mrs. Garman as our TCTC rep. She, the liaison, contacted me about some concerns. We had a little bit of a signing where the kids signed, the basketball team signed the program from the district championship, and the TCTC kids were kind of upset that they weren't included in this situation. And I actually went out today, because I got a couple of emails, and I contacted some parents, and I went and talked to them about what kind of things we excused them from. Like, for this situation, it was like an 8-minute ceremony that they would have had to miss an hour and 10 minutes of school for. And I told them I can't really justify that, and they understood when I talked to them today. And we did talk about communication back and forth, and it's not just so much them. They brought a few things to my attention that might be good to bring up for all of our students who are not in-house, our CCP, our CB, so our college students, our kids who are career-based instruction, and our TCTC all kind of fall in the same boat, where they're under our umbrella, but they're not here. So just an idea of communication and what the best way to do it. So right now, I'm going to be out there once a month at this point to talk to them and let them know that we're still here.
You know, I might as well throw in that, because this will actually take care of my report for TCTC. I'm glad you reached out and, you know, took care of some of those, hopefully, you know, we can take care of some of those communication problems, because, you know, I wasn't so upset that they missed a pep rally, just the lack of communication was probably the worst of it. So.
All right. Is there, anything else from principals?
I will with the superintendent items. Are you through with TCTC?
Yeah, because I didn't really
Okay.
have anything.
All right, well, first I'd like to say, you know, I appreciate Mr. Garrett, he took it upon himself to go out and saw a need there and to reach out to them and make them feel included in our school. You know, it's kind of tough because, you know, you end up, they're in a whole different facility and everything too. And we have the domains open. It's kind of weird how all of our email works and everything. We've discovered they're not getting everything. And so, you know, I appreciated that here, you know, with over the last couple of days that we worked on that. So superintendent items. Just want to let folks know we applied for the Attorney General Safety Grant for fiscal year 22. So that will give us about $3,465, I'm estimating, because they give you about $550 a kid. We've got about 630, you know, students. We have 630. I had 609, so my math might be just a little bit off, but it's around $3,000 or so for us to put towards some safety things. One of the things that Chief Lute is working on is a second SRO, so I'm pretty excited about that. We can also use some of this monies for SRO training. unfortunately, the weird thing is that our police, they go through all of their POTA training, and that, if they go full-time, it takes them about 4 months to get through. It can take up to a year if they go part-time. And they only offer SRO training twice a year, once in October and once in June. So we're pretty excited. Austin will be going to this, and we're hopeful that this police officer from Youngstown might be joining us. So we're pretty thrilled that that's going to happen. We'll see a motion relative to that so that we can negotiate with Bryan Township, just giving me the ability to do that. Although I want to assure everybody that we've been talking behind the scenes quite a lot anyway, but I want to make sure that some of that is to solidify that person that we have of interest. Project update. I want to let you know that the stands are due on August 1st. The press box is due on August 26th. Our first football game is August 27th. So I don't think that we're going to end up taping off or doing something. They've done some proposals with that. They were out here just today looking at all of the facility, how they're making plans for how they're going to do the demolition, plans for electrical. We have Ohio Edison. We're getting set up for service for all of that, and Brad has worked behind the scenes in getting the all of that paid for and taken care of. So we should be right on track with the new service coming in. So we'll have stands by the first football game. I know that for sure. But the press box, we're going to have to improvise with, in the first couple of games. And then we're also looking at board property. We've been working behind the scenes with that. We have 115 acres that really aren't in use at this point. And I've been working with surveyor from Canfield. His name's Robert Blyden, who's surveying the property. I brought the big dock for the board to look at. But what we're going to do is we're going to section off about 12 acres in that will be, we're going to maintain the board offices. That way, we're not going to have to invest in building board offices. We already have them there. We'll be able to maintain the gas well, which we still get some funding stream from. We'll also be able to keep the couple of little buildings that we have on there as well. So then we are going to we have the appraisers, which is Tricomi Associates, looking at the property right now, and it's in the midst of being appraised. Then the 115 acres I want to put up for public bid. Now, unfortunately, we don't take it to a realtor right away. We have to put it up for public auction. I believe it's going to auction off, but the reason I'm taking it to an appraiser is that we want to be able to set a reserve on that. I don't want to give it away. So if it ends up that we're able to, or it doesn't meet the reserve, then we will put it to a realtor from there. Then finally, I went yesterday to the title company of Warren, and they are completing the documents based on the survey for the reparceling. So we're going to have now 2 parcels there, which will be the 12. It's like 11.7 acres for the board office, and then the 115 that we were going to sell off. So anyway, that's where we're at with all of that so far. And then, let's see, another thing that I want to say, 2 years ago, the world stopped this week. And so I'm very thankful that everything is now really pretty normalized, and very thankful for the way things have gone. Really proud of our staff, the way they worked through everything. And I think the end of the month, you're going to see a newsletter coming out too that celebrates a lot of the nice things that we've had going on in virtually all areas of the school. So we're real excited and proud of that. So that you should be able to look for that if you live in our community in the end of the month in your mailboxes. So I'll wait.
Anything else on the community engagement committee before I start?
Let's see, community engagement committee, we're working on a groundbreaking for the stadium, which will be pretty exciting, but I hope that it all correlates with the actual ground. You know, we're thinking June 2nd, you know, for that. If they're already digging, it's okay. It's going to be a symbolic groundbreaking because this is a big deal, you know, for us. I did forget to mention that we had, I wanted to share with you that we've got Cadence Care Network coming in. And I had given the board a report, but we've had where they track, you know, all of our information, all the things that they're doing with students. Year to date so far, we've had her working with 779 appointments. Now, that's pretty good, you know, whenever you look at that. We had 444 client, student, or self-referrals, 58 guidance counselor, 6 intervention specialists, 37 parent referrals, 111 principal referrals, 3 nurse, 39 social worker referrals, 2 special ed supervisor referrals. I must have referred 3 of them, so it says 3 superintendent ones. It must have been when I was working in George's office. We had 76 teacher referrals. So that's really, you know, good use of that resource that we've had in place. And I think it benefits our students, you know, largely because, you know, it helps them whenever they're going through very difficult circumstances. And you'd be surprised what our students go through, you know, outside of here. And sometimes it's the only safe place they have. So very, very exciting statistics.
Could I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
I wondered what that meant, 779. So those are basically 780 individual contacts. And some of those could be.
Yeah, they can be
multiple
Yeah,
times. So that, I mean, that's approximately 30 plus a week. Does that sound about right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's definitely good usage. I mean, it's unfortunate that there's like 11, it's available, right?
Right.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome. And then we do have a SRO report. So Austin had submitted that here earlier today. Just a couple of improper activities after the basketball game on school property, 1 improper activity during school hours. Baker had 1 improper activity during school hours, 1 possible truancy issue, pending investigation, and we didn't have any reported incidents at Curry. So, and we appreciate the presence of the SRO. We're looking forward to having more here. So, Facility Improvement Committee has been meeting, and you know we met last time to develop a large plan for you know, okay, this is kind of like a pie in the sky dream plan with having a full game gym plus doing a full addition at Baker that would cover at least 4 classrooms, 3 smaller offices. The game gym, it encompasses everything. You know, this would be the full-size dream gym. Their price quotes were a little bit out of our loan range. So, you know, being forthright with everybody, you know, it was in the $9 million range. So we're going to have to look at that. You know, we're going to. I talked to Joel Polonis about this. I should call him Mr. Polonis. Sorry, Mr. Polonis, didn't address you properly. But I want to start trying to think out of the box a little bit for this too. You know, because I think that we have a lot of costs. We have the right people. We know Mr. Polonis has worked in these types of venues, and he's working at the air base right now, facilitating a lot of projects like this. So we're going to meet very soon, he and I, to discuss some of that. So I don't know where we're going to go with that yet, but at least we have a little bit of a game. How should I put it? A framework to start trying to piece together what we're going to do in the next phase. So.
I just wanted to go back to Katie's, give a couple kudos to that. I sit with Matt Crescent on a couple of committees, and he said not only, you know, Katie's is completely at our disposal, so are the committees, Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention and Trauma-Informed Care. So whatever we need, ask for it, they're at our disposal.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, moving on to financial.
A, it's recommended that the Board of Education accept the scholarship donation of $6,000 and establish the new Marsh Scholarship Fund with fiscal year 2022 initial appropriation of $2,000. And B is recommended that the Board of Education approve the resolution accepting the rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Trumbull County Auditor, rates listed below. And that's it.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
So this resolution for the rates is the same exact resolution we passed in January. We have to pass a new one. We have to pass one in January when we change rates. And because of our valuation changes, we decreased the emergency levy rate. So you have to pass it in January for those 2 months and then in March for the rest of the year. And then a recognition of it all.
Right, any further discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Garmin,
Yes.
Mr. Haddle,
Yes.
Mr. Polonis,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Ms. Haddle.
Yes. Okay, under personnel.
It's recommended that the Board of Education employ Lori Wojcicki as the Food Services Director, 3-year contract starting in 2022-23 school year, 3 hours per day, 190 days, 92 days per year, rates as listed below. Section B, it is recommended that the board employ the following in the supplemental positions listed for 21-22 school year pending assigned job description. Bethany Del Garbino as our assistant track coach, and she also drives a van, I know that. And then section C, where as the Board of Education is posted, whereas the Board of Education then advertised, be therefore resolved, then that the following non-licensed individuals be employed in the 21-22 school year pending proof of proper credentials, FBI, BCI, signed job description and existence of the team. Maisie Smith, for assistant high school track.
Motion, any second?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call?
Ms. Garmin,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Mr. Polonis,
Yes.
Mr. Haddle,
Yes.
Ms. Haddle.
Yes. Okay, and then we'll move on to contracts, agreements, and memberships as recommended by the superintendent.
Section 8 is recommended that the Board of Education approve the engagement letter with local government services to compile annual financial statements for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, at services not to exceed $6,030. B, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the contract with the Trumbull County Educational Service Center to provide special education and other services in the amount of $587,594, increase from $411,894. Section C, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the quote from Pioneer Athletics in the amount of $1848.40 for the purchase of Pros Choice infield conditioner and Pros Choice Rapid Dry number 50 to be used on the softball field and approve the corresponding purchase order. Section D, it is recommended that the Board approve the quote from YLS Printing, YLS Letter Shop in the amount of $26.98 for the printing and mailing of the district newsletter. And section E, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following purchase orders not to exceed the amounts listed.
Okay. So moved. On the second.
Second.
Joel?
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, the newsletter, what's the frequency we expect to, it's talking about how often you want to put something out?
We're looking at quarterly,
Okay.
and that's was a result of that communication.
Okay.
Meeting.
Can you explain the increase under B?
Yes. So the Trumbull County Service Center helps us with special ed cases that are that we wouldn't be able to manage in-house. And so, you know, sometimes when students have a specific learning need that is not managed in-house, we send them to units that are housed with Trumbull County Service Center. And so we had several more students that we started with at the beginning of the year. And also the initial estimate that we had from the county did not include the psych services. So when I say psych services, the school psychologist. So because we had previously employed that person in-house instead of subcontracting with ESC. ESC is a little bit more efficient for us to do, and so that's why some of that cost is increased.
Yeah, also, I saw, last month, I got a call from the treasurer of the ESC, saying that, you know, our costs are coming in a lot higher than this initial projection of 411,000. And that's why they said, this is what we recommend, your new estimate to be. That way we're not, stuck with this bill for $170,000. Hopefully, by the end of the school year, it'll be close to zero.
How many
But yeah,
kids- how many kids are in that?
So I don't know now, but I was just working on something for ODE about catastrophic costs. And last year, we only had 3 MD students and 3 ED students. And I think years before, we've had, I don't know, but like double that easily. So that, I don't know if we just, I don't know if it's COVID or what, that we didn't have a lot of kids enrolled in ED, MD last year, but I'm sure MD and ED is by far the most cost associated with the ESC bill, and it's about $20,000 a kid.
And we've had it as high as $667,000.
Yeah.
That was my first year.
And that's not really us doing anything, it's just kind of a.
Well, this could fluctuate.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And will.
Yeah.
And it just depends on the kid's IEP, diagnosis, whatever.
And that's outside of the scope of what Cadence provides.
Yes.
To be clear that Cadence doesn't do that, so we have
Yeah.
to purchase these other services.
Correct.
Okay, any other questions, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Polonis?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Haddle?
Yes.
Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Ms. Haddle?
Yes. Okay, and F,
Section F, it is recommended that the Board of Education accept the negotiated master contract with the Mathews Education Association governing the terms and conditions of employment of those bargaining unit members in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 4117 for a period of 3 years from August 1st, 2022 through July 31st, 2025.
so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to discuss just a little bit. So first of all, I'd like to thank the MEA and really appreciated Carla Basilio and Mike Colombo in the process. We worked this out in just a couple of meetings, and we were able to get through a lot of things. And so I was grateful for their willingness to sit down with us and make this go very well. I did want to read Carla's, with permission, can I read your letter here today? It says, "Dear Mr. McQuaid and members of the Mathews Board of Education, the Mathews Education Association met on Friday, March 11th, 2022 to review and hold a ratification meeting for the tentative agreement with the Mathews Board of Education. I'm happy to report that the tentative agreement was ratified by the MEA. On behalf of Mr. Colombo and myself and the MEA, we appreciate the opportunity to sit at a table and have open discussion in a respectful and honest manner. Thank you to Mr. McQuaid and Mr. Panic for their time, patience, and professionalism as we built this agreement. Sincerely, Carla." So, all right, thank you for that.
We appreciate how easy you made it last year too with everything going on. So thank you. All right, roll call?
Mr. Haddle?
Yes.
Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Mr. Polonis?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Ms. Haddle?
Yes. Policy, do you have no recommendations?
No recommendations.
Okay, now, other recommendations by the superintendent.
Okay, so section A is, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's paper online test administration only for third grade state assessment. So it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following resolution. Whereas effective November 2018, the Senate bill passed, whereas revised code speaks to it. Now therefore be it resolved that Mathews Local will administer a paper format test for the third grade English language arts test, and that's for next year.
Need a motion?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hattle?
Yes.
Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Hattle?
Yes.
Thank you. If you could sign, there's a tab here, sorry about that. Section B, is recommended that the Board of Education authorize a deed to be put on record for the property at 4096 Cadwalader Sauk Road, Portland, Ohio 44410, reflecting the new legal description from the survey that was completed by J. Robert Lyden, PS 5997, on January 5th, 2022, and further authorize the board president and treasurer to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Mr. Hattle?
Mr. Allen?
Yes, I'm sorry. Read the next one, right?
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Ms. Hattle?
Yeah.
Sorry that Mr. Wallace got left off.
Yes, he has a question.
At the right minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, section C, it is recommended that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to pursue a 3-year agreement with Vienna Township for the employment of 2 full-time school resource officers for the district.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We're looking forward to having another resource officer, which would be great.
Let's hope
And we
that
hope it
goes.
moves fast. Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Yep. Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Mr. Hattle?
Abstain.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Ms. Hattle?
Yes.
I'm adding a section, this will be section D. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the 6th through 8th grade trip to Camp Fitch, April 13th and 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Mr. Hattle?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Ms. Hattle?
Yes. Usually do something else with the board.
Can we do another?
I know what I didn't
Tell
have
that
the,
other wasn't on there.
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't have the discussion, but we can.
I want to just take a moment to thank Carla and Mike and Brad and Russ, you know, for the negotiations and the contract to be done so smoothly. Historically speaking, it's not always been that way, so I very much appreciate you guys being able to work this as you have. Just think that's wonderful. Thank you all.
Anything else? Okay. The next regular board meeting is on April 20th, 2022. And then I am going to make a motion that we go into executive session for A, employment, compensation, investigation of charges or complaints against an employee, B, the purchase of property, and D. So I make the motion and I need a second.
Second.
Okay, and the time will be 7:06.
All those in favor?
Yeah, we need to adjourn.
No, just roll call.
Roll call?
Yeah, so, Ms. Garmin?
Yes.
Mr. Hattle?
Yes.
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go. Teachers usually get 8%.
There you are.
Yeah.
So how much is the clock? Between 9 and 90.
I know.
Per year.
How many?
Oh, no worries. That's okay. No worries. All good.
Yes, we are.